Right, hello once again. Here we are. Interesting one this week, and I will get to that eventually. We've got quite a little bit to go through to start with because we have a good bit of information regarding things that have happened as well and things that are going to happen. So I'll get right to that actually. Remember, this is all part of the Flux review. And what I will say is that we did actually go along to the Fresh exhibition at which was at um, Alexandra Palace a couple of weeks ago, and you can see here that we've got a little bit of an insight into what was going on there. Some of the stuff. There's our own Katerina Diaz and the artist that's with her, and that fabulous art on the wall behind her as well. Going to be interviewing her in a few weeks' time. Amanda, so that would be pretty cool. And there was some very interesting art there, and we had a great time talking to the different artists. Some of them quite amazing, and this artwork at the back here as well. He's a paparazzi photographer who's now sort of kind of jumping on the photography side of art, which is fantastic. Now, Flux exhibition. Look, over a decade ago, this was the very first one, and there is Lisa. I'm presuming starting the whole thing off. I wasn't there. I've done 5 or maybe 6 now. So this was really really the start of everything, as you can see. But of course, this is the Flux review. This is edition 11 that's out currently. Edition 12 is on its way, and tonight's guest is actually being interviewed in that by Stephen. So you'll be able to see quite a bit on that. But of course, we also have Flux exhibition. 17th to 20th of July in Marylebone, once again at the Bomb Factory where we were before. Loads of things are going to be happening with that, and I'll be able to tell you that over the coming weeks. But it will be there'll be quite a few events actually and things happening over the course of the exhibition. And just to give you a little bit of a flavour of that, you can see this is kind of it's very high ceilings, fantastic venue actually, really really good, and the work that's on exhibition absolutely superb. Tonight's guest again is going to be a part of that, so you can see here. In addition to that, we also have I also have a little bit of info regarding Michelle Watson. You remember I spoke to before. She's got a solo show in Muse Gallery in Portobello Road, 13th to 6th of April. You don't need tickets for the PV. I think you just turn up. She'll probably tell me that's completely wrong, but that's as I understand it. Now, a little bit of news as well on next week's guest. So this is again very very interesting because Mark here is Mark Springer, and he's got an album out called The Sleep of Reason, and he's written the actual album and created the album along with Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys and the Saucony String Quartet. So he's piano player, and if you're wondering why I'm interviewing him, well, this whole piece of work is actually based on Francisco Goya's work, The Monster in his own era. So essentially, this is reflecting the monsters of our time. Goya, monsters in his own era, and some of Goya's work's pretty dark. So going to be a fascinating interview. And of course, on top of that, he is also an artist. So again, there's that link between music and art, and that's what I want to be exploring with him as well. And then the following week after that, I've managed to actually get Lisa from Quite Great, which is a PR company for artists, to come on and talk about what that exactly means, which again, that will be very enlightening. And it's also nice for me to actually put the spotlight on her for once. So looking forward to that one as well. So let's now we've got all the admin side of it out of the way. Let's get back onto tonight's guest. I'm looking forward to this interview because we've got so much to cover. And in fact, even while I was just setting up, I've been sent WhatsApp stuff and stuff I've had to download just to get quickly on here because this lady is one busy lady for sure. But before we get to that, done the usual thing, put everything that she does into a video. No, not everything for sure. Probably a fraction of what she does in a video, but this gives you a flavour of what we're going to talk about. Now, I told you it was a bit varied, so without further ado, let's get Piluca in. Hi.
Hello, Gary. How are you?
I'm going to move you to the other side. As I said before, it's best if you're over on the other side there, and that's it. Everything will be working fine now. That's perfect. Well, there you go. I've put that little video together from the work that you sent me, giving people a little bit of an idea of the kind of things you do. But we've had quite a bit of a chat beforehand, and I don't think we're ever going to fit everything in this hour, if I'm honest. But let's start right at the beginning, because what I've put as the title of this is Born to be an Artist. So why?
Why?
Why born to be an artist? You know, why do you think you were born to be an artist?
Well, I do believe everyone has a purpose in life. And mine was definitely being an artist. And whatever I do with my art, let it be... Art for me has been many things. It has been a healing tool. Now, if I am healed, I become a better person. If I become a better person, I help the universe as a whole. Art has also been my weapon. It's my way of conveying things. Art, as you know, changes the world. It defines eras. So, yeah, what is not good about being an artist is to be honest, I've always said I wasn't made an artist. I was born one. As the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I remember being. So it's not really asking why. It would be like saying, why are you breathing? Exactly the same. Why are you breathing? Well, I breathe because I have to. My life and my art are completely intertwined. There is no one without the other. It's as simple as that.
So, okay, then taking that as you've just said it, how have you then effectively developed your style? Because you've got quite an eclectic mix, but I would say, like I say to everybody, actually, it's still you. It's still you. It's not, nobody will look at it and think it was someone else. It's still you. So how have you developed that style? And also, you know, I've got a few things to bring up, which kind of an indication of how your style or the type of work you're doing has changed. I mean, we're not just talking painting. You've got street art. You've got all sorts of. You've got clothing. You know, you've got all sorts of other stuff that you're linked and doing. But you can't have. Is this self-taught? Did you go to uni for it, or art college or anything like that, or have you just you know what, I'm an artist, and I know, and you can explain this a bit, that we said before we were talking, before we even came on air, you said that sometimes you don't actually know what you're going to start to paint. It's a feeling that comes from you. So how do you harness that?
Well, I want to actually pay attention at the first thing you said, because that has been kind of haunting me as an artist my whole life. When I in Spain, I did study law. Okay, far from art. I mean,
Mm.
back then you could not say, "Hey, I'm going to become an artist." People look at you like, "What is that?" You know, you have to do something that will bring you some money to the table, and that is a reputable career. Anyway, when I came here in 1996, I completely left. I was in third year of law. I just came here and I studied 2 years of art and design, and then I did a degree in fine art from Kingston University. Now, my whole life, I've been told that because I don't have an exclusive style, a style that people can recognize, I am not valid as an artist. Now, I've always refused to go through that little hole of the needle and say, okay, and so many times, Gary, I was told, Piluca, just focus on something that you really like and then do it. Just don't move to the sides. And I was thinking, I always refused. I'm thinking, but why? I don't do art so I can be recognized and earn money and be famous. Hey, that's a bonus if I do. I do art because, like I said before, Gary, for me, it's like breathing. So why would I compromise my breath so I become famous and miserable? I should have studied law then and then a lot of money. So I'm glad that you say it's true. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
it's
that
true.
you said, Piluca, I can see you in everything you do. Although, like you said, it's like, is this, see, is this 20 people? Yes, because that's me. I go through life through so many changes. I keep on reinventing myself, Gary.
Mm.
When I see something or I live an experience that is not good for me, I change it. I'm very good at channeling myself into be a better person and coming out of circumstances that are not good for me. And art, like I said, is intertwined. So my art is going to reflect that. Art has
Mm.
always been a reflection of my journey. So
Mm.
of course, one day it's going to be one thing, and next it's going to be the other. It surprises me, Gary. Every time I look, I'm thinking, what am I doing now? I don't even know what I do, but
Mm.
it happens, and I like that because I'm very honest to my true self.
Well, we have so Lee Churchill watches every week, and he's just put a comment on to say, "I love the passion." Now, what? How long we've been going? What, like 5 or 10 minutes, maybe? And already somebody is understanding the passions there, which is
Thank
brilliant.
you, thank you.
And I did, while you were talking, I did put a few things up because, um, and I said to you that I would. We'd look back. We're not going to sort of discuss about, you know, how you did this stuff, but the and I'll bring these up again. So this is an instance, and I do love these, I have
The
to say.
journey.
But this is part of a whole. Is it called the journey?
It's called, the collection is The Journey. It
Yeah,
came about during COVID. You know, that collection, it was so cathartic, Gary. You
yeah,
know, when I started doing that collection, I acquired, it was just coming out of COVID, I acquired a studio space just across the road from my house here in Brixton. And because I went to a gallery and the gallery saw some of my sculptures, she said, oh, can you recreate one and bring it to the gallery? So I will definitely show you. So I thought, brilliant. So I acquired the studio with that sole purpose of doing that particular sculpture.
mm,
Lo and behold, and a few months after, that came out. Every day, something else. I was like possessed. Something, it was like purging. But at the time that happened, I was going through counseling for the first time in my life. And that collection is the reflection of that. And I didn't know at the minute I was doing it, I didn't even know what was happening. I just went every
right.
day. I have videos. I recorded every day and saying, let's see what happens. That was my line every day. Let's see what happens. I didn't even know ever what was going to happen.
No.
And after I finished the journey, I look back, wow, it was mind blowing because I saw things that really, it was very scary. The journey was scary,
Yeah.
but very
But
beautiful.
it's the stories in the art, and that
Yeah.
is the key. That's always the key, I feel. But then we move on a little bit, and uh, we've got a whole series here of, again, different, different,
Mm.
and we will be heading on to stuff that I will talk about, and this is part of your series, which the title's there. Don't need me to say it. But also, you've got this currently, but you've also got the bull stuff. And just in case anybody misheard me, that's BULL. You've got the bull stuff, which now the bull is quite relevant to you, isn't it? It's quite an important factor. So what's behind you using the bull as being your well, in fact, I'd say it's bordering on being a trademark, really, because this is you. So
It is me. Yeah.
So what's behind that? What's behind that?
Well, when I was very little, bear in mind I grew up in the 70s, so there was no phones, no tablets, nothing. And I remember traveling with my dad on holidays, very long journeys from Madrid all the way to the coast for holiday. And that bull, which it was the advertisement for a well-known drink in Spain, a wine, which later on it became, you cannot advertise alcohol, but they kept it because it became an emblem of the landscape of Spain. Now, every time I look at that bull, and for me, it felt like a cattle. I even back then, I marveled I saw always El Toro de Osborne, which is Osborne's bull, as a huge piece of art. It is today. It wasn't then. For me, back then, it was already. It's like so majestic, so beautiful. That from the time I was like 4, 5, 6. Then, remember, I grew up in the 70s. Bullfighting was at its best. I grew up watching bullfighting. Now, I must say, I absolutely dislike bullfighting. I think it's animal brutality and torture. When I was growing up, obviously you're biased by society and culture, and I liked the artistry of it. I liked the way the matador was dressed. It was like, to me, it was a little bit like performance art, okay? But why the bull? I never focus on the matador. I focus on the bull. That animal is tortured before he even enters the ring. They give him a lot of, banderillas, the little harpoon.
Yeah.
They spade him. They weaken the animal before even it starts to fight El Matador. Do you ever see the bull turning around and going, sayonara, I'm done with you. No, thank you. No, he keeps on going and going and going. And no matter how much you push him and you kick him and you make him suffer, he keeps on standing up and fighting.
Yeah.
That's moi. Hello,
Yeah.
moi.
Yeah,
Resilience, will, and drive. So it became my emblema, my totem animal. It's my logo. It's a bull, and I can't help but draw bulls all the time because I have so much admiration for this animal, so much respect for it. And if I were to be an animal, I would definitely be a bull.
So let's jump back to this series that you've got, which is you've got a couple that you've sent me of this, but you have got a series of this, and also some of this is featured in your street art as well.
Yep.
So you've got not just got your the art that you're going to you sell and exhibit, etc., but you've also got this whole street project, which I believe is now a year this has been going.
Yeah, tomorrow it marks 1 year that I started.
Yeah, tomorrow. Well, happy birthday. So this again, the bull features in a big way, but I'm guessing this is a reflection of you. This is in some ways you are portraying your inner bull. That's how it comes across to me.
It is, yeah. So cool. Whether it's before I used to just draw bulls, the masculinity of a bull, then it was a time that I diverted a little bit and put the head of a bull on a female body. But then, like this, I did this today. It's just for Valentine's though. But prior to those, the past few weeks, I've been doing just bulls again, just bull. Because Instagram doesn't let me post titties. How crazy is that? Hello. Artwork, they don't. TikTok.
No. I've had the same issue. You have to put big censored things across it. Instagram's got big time double standards for me with some of the stuff that does show you on there. However, you know, we have to abide by the rules if we want to stay using it, which is
bureaucracy. That was my Gary. That was my first ever artwork. See that gentleman over there? His graffiti artist is called 47.
Okay.
And I just met him recently in an exhibition called Caps and Cans on the sidings in Waterloo. And I remember meeting him. I just grabbed him and I said, "Can you please teach me?" Because it's always been my dream to do street art. And he was there just to make me feel confident. He always said, "Piluca, you're just born to do this." And to be honest, Gary, wow, it's opened up a new world for me completely because I like big.
So if people want to go and see this, where is it?
Okay, so that is not there anymore. That would lasted a very long time. That is in Lick Street Tunnel in London Waterloo. Okay. Now, the one of the unicorn is still there today. The thing is with Lick Street, you may do this and tomorrow someone comes and, that one is still up. It's in the same place that the octopus was.
Okay.
The thing with Lick Street is the paradise of street artists, okay? It's hundreds and hundreds of artists going every day and just work. And it's like the Fallas in Valencia. It's like my own artwork. You know, like when I do portraits, I may do a portrait and then I completely delete it and do another portrait on top. I sometimes have portraits with 6 layers. To me, losing, but that's life. I'm not going to be crying every time something goes. Like my son is growing up. I feel very sad. I'm not going to be like, oh my God. So artwork is the same. Some people I may paint today the birds, tomorrow I may go and it's gone. So I would recommend anyone to go to Lick Street because it's absolutely mind-blowing site of artwork, but you can never expect what to see in there.
No. But again, it's all right. The ball features, but it is different to, you know, the kind of work that you do. I think I'm right in saying this is the latest one you sent me, isn't it?
That is my latest painting. Yeah, which is very, very cathartic, that painting in particular.
Okay, so talk me through the meaning that's behind this. What's I mean, I can see Pac-Man sitting there. There's all sorts. It seems there's a lot going on in there for sure.
Right. So essentially it's a lot because that's my life until now.
Right.
I literally comprise my whole life. Okay, just to put you a little bit in a map of everything that has been happening. The journey was like a fluid collection where I'm discovering what's happening. I don't know. So it's very uncertain what is happening in here. I'm learning as I go. Now, when I went to the edge of the journey, that's when what the blip, life, death, and everything in between started. So whether the journey takes you into a journey of uncertainty, can I swear? No, what the blip, life, death, and everything in between, it slaps you in the face and it forces you to look. Yeah. And this is unapologetically me, because I actually learned who I was. I was forced to look into myself. I said, Piluca, hello, that's you. So it's a collection about life, death, all my experiences, which is how many hours do we have? Is a lot. So I needed to do that collection to kind of purge everything and to bring it to physicality what the journey made me see. And once that was over, it's been a year, that painting came about. Now that painting, I kind of free myself from everything. It's like a good journey, and I'm gonna move forward from here. So in that painting, it's even the galaxy, the Milky Way before I was born, and I was a thought of someone until literally when I finished with my trip to Chicago a couple of weeks ago or 3.
Right. So one question that we've got from Lee is the writing in the ball a special text or poem, or is that?
Yes. Well noticed, Lee, and hi. Thank you for noticing that. But yes, it is, and it's all about. I write a lot. I actually wrote a book a year ago And I love writing. I've always loved writing all my life. So it's a little bit of, coming to terms of who I am as a person. It's acceptance.
Hmm.
I've been hurt. This is what I am. I'm strong, but I'm also very vulnerable. I'm a dichotomy myself. And it's coming to terms with that, with who I am, and just moving forward.
That's interesting because um, especially the bit that the galaxy, the Milky Way is in that from when you were born. That's quite, I mean, I can understand why you feel it being a cathartic sort of journey that you've taken for this, to create this work. It must be. But if I jump back to one prior to that, then, look, you got the ball and stuff. But again, on this right-hand side, there's loads of little images going on there. And is this a similar type of thing? Is it where you've got the same sort of thing in terms of words or little images
Um,
that reflecting or?
you know, I love the fact that you asked me that. So that painting is very layered, like I told you before. If you
Hmm.
look on the left of the bull,
Yeah.
that is me when I was 17. It's a photograph, but it's very deep inside. It's a lot of sketchbooks, writings I do, and honestly, underneath that visible layer is maybe, I don't know, 7 layers more. Now that writing that you mentioned on the right of the bull is my son's Malachi drawings.
Ah.
So I turned my back. When I look, he was doodling in the painting. My first instinct was to stop him, but never, because that's been missing his age, drawing everywhere in walls. If you go to my bathroom, it's like 16 chapel. So when I started doing that, I took it as a part of the process, which it is, because my children are very, very important
Yeah.
for my journey. Obviously,
So,
like
yeah.
everyone's kids.
Yeah.
It's funny because I take inspiration on my child. I take, when it comes to art, I've learned throughout my career that I need to stop the brain thinking and go more with my instinct. That's why I drew a lot. I draw a lot with my left hand, so I don't think as much. Now, when I look at Malachi's drawings,
So hold on one second. Is that like a left brain, right brain thing?
yeah, absolutely. When you write
Yeah.
when
That's
you
interesting.
use your right hand, you are using more your thinking brain, and it's crazy because that jeopardizes many times our creative process. So by drawing with your left hand, which I have I've always done it, always. Like I have murals. The one I did in Spain, you can see a video. I actually tuck my right hand on my jeans, so don't feel like going. And I drew with my left one. My drawings with my left, I love them. Like that one, I can't remember if I did it with my left or my right, but I tend to like my work with my left way more than the one with my right. How fun is that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And okay, so there's an artist. If you're going to be at Flux, Janet will be there. I'm sure she pretty much always is. Been at every one I've done anyway. She's got she did psychology. She's got all sorts going on before. Always done a bit of been in art as well, but she's proper. Her work is amazing. And I did an interview with her about faces and how faces, at what point, for instance, is a face no longer a face? So if how much detail do you need in a painting to still recognize it to be a face? So it was all about that. But she would find that very interesting, what you've just said about that, uh, about that picture that we've just had up there, especially. I think about people that write songs. Most songs are written about an experience. Adele being the absolute perfect example of that. Every song she's ever written is about something that's gone wrong. Taylor Swift does it as well. Can't believe I've actually said the words Taylor Swift, but I just did. But trust me, I don't listen to it. But it's a similar thing here. What you're saying is basically
Yes.
your experiences you're putting into your pictures. It's like you've created a 16-track album of.
Well, it is. I've always said when people ask me what do, I always tell them I'm a visual storyteller.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what I am. Because you cannot pigeonhole me. Like
Yeah.
I do fashion, I do books, I do everything that, for as long as it's creative. So I'm a visual storyteller. That's funny that you mentioned. You know all these little Pac-Man that you call it, all this. I drew all those with my left hand. All of them. All of them. Because, and it's the first time that I draw this kind of beings in that way. If you look at my book, see, this is the thing. If you look at my book, they're the same beings, but way more polished and outlined and beautiful. And I always thought, something doesn't sit right here. Something, and you know what, this is what it is. If it's something that I love, Gary, is the imperfection of our perfection.
Yeah.
And as I'm growing older, I'm stripping out all these layers of perfectionism and beauty and embracing the beauty of ugliness. And although I want to master, having said that, with my street art, I'm going there every week, at least once a week. So I learn and master the can. Now, once I master and I can do a portrait that is like, whoa, mind blowing, I know what I want to do. I want to go 3 lines. But first, I want to master it. And then I can go back to basics.
So when you're doing your street art, left or right-handed then?
It depends. Like this one with the can, definitely right. I'm learning with the right. I'm not going to even try with the left yet. Yeah, definitely. I need to, like I said, I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to, when I learn, I do learn. If you're going to do something, do it right.
And so we were talking about a little bit of mortality. We were having a discussion about that before we came on air. And it comes to a point where, like me, you've got so much going on that you want to do. It sometimes becomes a little bit difficult as to, okay, right, which one do I do first? It's almost becomes a little bit like that you've got to really crack on. Before I carry on with that question, so Paolo is a fabulous artist that I interviewed on this show last year. They call him the Wizard of Art because he's a really interesting, really very interesting character and a lovely man as well. But he's put a comment up. He loves the honest and raw way Piluca relates to her work. That should be. It is correct to say that creation, your work, sometimes surpasses and dominates the creator, you. So is it correct to say that creation of your work?
Well spotted, Paolo. 100%.
Yeah, well, he is. He's Paolo's on it. He's a really cracking guy and a very, very astute artist. He really gets it when you talk to him. So that's interesting, isn't it? Which gives me a question of, when you are working on something, are you surprised at, if you say to me that, all right, I don't know what I'm going to be, he's put her now, I don't know, okay, I pick the paints up, I get ready to go and I start to paint, but you don't actually know what you're going to paint
most of the times. But even I remember I did once a portrait for my friend Christina. The thing is, when I set myself to do the painting, I wasn't set to do the portrait. I must say that was a long time ago, okay? So I was on the winos. I was drinking a little bit of wine. I didn't have children. So imagine me in my house, all funky, the music, the wine, something. I can't remember now. It's too long ago, more than 20 years ago. I don't know what I wanted to do. But I can't remember if it was in the morning or in the evening. I look back and thinking, what is that? It's something completely different to what I set myself to do. And it was my friend Christina. And I was like, whoa. But like, that's happened so many times. Okay. When I do murals, I do interiors of restaurants a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay. When I do my artwork in there. Never, ever, I actually map out what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
What the only thing I do is I receive information, but it's like with portraits. If someone wants a portrait, I just tell them, look, this is my WhatsApp. Just keep on shooting all the info you want about you to the slightest detail that you may think is not relevant. So the same with restaurants. Just tell me who are you as a restaurant, your identity, your brand identity. Now, once your inspirations, data, everything. So once, I don't even think, Gary, that goes straight somewhere else. And then this process, look, it's like a vortex. It's like a vortex. All of a sudden, my brain goes, it's not my brain, it's my creativity source. It's like, it opens, it feels like it goes, and all of a sudden, oh my God, it's like, sometimes I have to shut it down because it's so much information. When I was doing What the Bleep, it's not called What the Bleep, by the way, but when I was doing What the Bleep, just in case people say What the Bleep, when I was doing that one, I had to really, like, my dreams were feeding me new works. And Marie Bickerton, the owner of the gallery, she told me, Piluca, you need to stop now. You keep on doing, I said, but my brain keeps on, my creativity keeps on feeding them in my dreams, and I have to do it. Geez, I did artworks like 3 days before the exhibition. And I had to do it because I was sleeping, and you have to do this, you have to do that. So it's more like having information, and then my creativity translated into this beautiful or ugly piece of artwork. And then I just create. Crazy, I know.
Yeah, but that's, there's a couple of things that I always say, and I've said to you before, again, before we came on air, I do a lot of talks all over the country, and one of the things I talk about is the fact that you can teach anybody to paint, you can teach anybody to take a photograph, but you can't give them imagination if they haven't got it. And that imagination's linked to the creativity. So, you can't, and I'm not a person that goes out and takes, Steve Healy's in the chat, and he'll know this. I'm not somebody that goes out and actually takes a photograph and that goes, that's it. I don't. I take, I like that little bit. I like that little bit, because I know what all those things are going to create.
Mm-hmm.
So, the camera's a tool for me, whereas, and I don't sketch anything. I don't map anything out. It's all in here. So I completely understand where you're coming from with what you do. And I think that's also true of a lot of artists that have been on the chat, because, I've been on these interviews, particularly Paolo as well. You get into what you're doing, and before you know it, you've created something that's not what you started out. That's
exactly
not what you started out with, but what you've ended up with is probably, and jumps back to Paolo's question, probably is way better than you thought it was ever going to be, because you never envisaged it in the first place.
Yeah, although having said that, Gary, and I need to point this out because I try to be as understanding and tolerant of everything and anything. And I do get the people that do hyperrealism. If that's the thing, do it. Listen, I've seen work with like pencil. People take 5 months to do something that looks like a photograph. I admire that with every atom of my body. Now, would I spend the time to learn that skill? No, because I don't have it in me, but I respect what they do, and I understand. So this is the thing. We're all different human beings. We're like snowflakes. No one is the same to each other. So why people try to make us all like clones? No, we're not. And we all have something different to provide to society and the universe. So I think embracing our uniqueness is what we should do.
Absolutely. I think it's also very true that, look, art's very subjective. And the thing is that you will find people out there that are artists that have never exhibited before. You need to have a bit of a thick skin, because you will get people who will stand there and
dissect you. But that happened to me in university, Gary. When I went to uni, it's a bag of mixed emotions, to be honest, because I was told too many times, because of my personality, I guess I was liked, but at the same time, it felt always like a battle, because they no, you mustn't be more, that was the momentum of being conceptual. And I didn't want to be conceptual. No, but I have to be conceptual. Just because you say I have to be conceptual, no, break it down. And I understand it's a learning process, but it's ways of telling people, okay, you can learn to strip all these flourishments and just go to the core when it can be just the concept without deterring what you really want to do as an artist.
Yeah.
And I felt sometimes that, well, you know, the art world, and I'm really gonna get in trouble in here, it's quite snobby. And that's why it's just funny. It's the art world is run mostly by people, mostly. Oh, that was back when I was more involved in it, in the sense of exhibitions and things, by people that are not like artists. Artists, we are more of, you know, crazy individuals, very, very unapologetically us. But look, I guess that's what people, it needs to be a balance between one or the other. I don't think we'll run the world very well because we're pretty crazy, aren't we? So,
Well, it's true, but I think it's firstly, thank you for giving me my clip for Instagram, which is you know, the art world is very, yeah, thank you, that'll be lovely. But it's true. It's true because I found when I was, you know, look, I thought, okay, I'll see if I can get my work into some galleries, see what I can do with that. Well, unless you know somebody that's already with that gallery, they don't even talk to you. Not interested in the slightest. And I tried, and people kept saying to me, "Oh, you should be in this gallery. You should be in there." All right. And then somebody said to me as well, "Oh, your work should be a film." I went, "Okay." Take one of your pictures to Cannes Film Festival, and they'll bite your hand off. Right. And I went, all right. So I put one of the pictures under my arm, and I get a plane out to Cannes to the festival. Get off the plane. Then what? Go on. What do I do then?
what did you
Because
do?
no, I didn't. I didn't do it. No, because I just thought this is crazy. Because the truth
Crazy.
is, that's just not how the world works.
But
And
that is Gary. I'm sorry to interrupt. That is why for me it's just like I'm always on the edge because part of me, who doesn't want to be recognized? I don't want to be famous, but yes, I would love to reach out to more people. That's what I would love to do
right.
because I know what I do has a weight energetically, and I know it connects. People that have my work, they always tell me after a long time of having it, look, every time I sit down, it moves people. Damn, what can be better than that, Gary?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
moving people, you're changing people. I've been told so many times the way I thought changed because you're painting, and so that's what I want. I want to reach out to more people. Okay, now how, like you said, when I said the art world is a bit snobby, it's because it is. It's who you know, who you are, and I don't want to um, compromise my ethos
Mm.
as a human, as an artist, just because I want to get into certain gallery.
Yeah.
And I never did that. Never.
So that's it. It's an interesting thing. I said at the start of a couple of weeks' time, I've got Lisa from Quite Great coming on, which is a PR agency for artists as well as musicians, but
Don't
artists.
show her my interview.
She deals with the art side, but really that's just to give people a bit of an insight as to what PR is, because we all do Instagram, we all do Facebook. Quite frankly, I don't know that it gets us anywhere at all, but it's one of those things you just have to do, unfortunately. But by the same token, one of the reasons why I do this is because people can then find out much more about you from an interview like this than they would looking at your Instagram page, for example. There's stuff that we're talking about, which there's other stuff we've not got to yet. And it's really, really difficult because one of the things I always said is I don't want to be famous, but I do want my work to be well known.
You want to be successful. Same, Gary. Same.
Same thing. It's not, and I believe that's
Let me
true.
some pain in the ass. Trust me, you don't want to be famous.
No, but I believe it's also true of most artists and most people that they don't want the fame, but they do want people to recognize their work. I'm fortunate now, after all these years. It's 2012, I started doing this in earnest, but that people do know that my work is mine because it's so distinctive. And I'd say that's, you've got something quite clever with the ball, because people will associate you with that. So that becomes, it's quite a little hook. It's like the hook in a
You know,
record.
it's funny that you mentioned that, because today, whilst I was doing the birds, I only did those birds because tomorrow is Valentine's, and I'm thinking, okay, let me move a little bit from the bull so I feel more uncomfortable, because the bull is really making me feel very comfortable now. Like, okay, when I do artwork in the street, I don't map out with numbers and grids. I just literally do just like hand drawing, and I need to go back and forth all the time for the proportions, etc. So I thought, let me do birds instead of a bull. And this guy came from behind and he tapped me, because I always work with my music, and he says, excuse me, did you do that unicorn? And I said, oh yeah. I'm so surprised he knew, because I don't sign until the end. And he said, you do the bulls. So people is, oh, you is the style, and people are starting to getting to know me because of the bulls, which I'm thinking, oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
So
but that's
yeah,
the thing. It's the same. It's what I say about having a hook. It's any if you write a piece of music, and I'll do a bit of that, and you need the hook. You need the thing that everybody knows. There's loads of songs out there that people will go, oh yeah, I know that. You don't. You know the bass line, or
yeah,
that
yes,
reminds you
yes.
straight
Yeah,
away. It's a similar thing. It's a similar thing with what you're doing now. Before, because we've got about 10 minutes left already, so that went quick. What I want to talk about here now quickly is you've got this Bust Out 100. So let's have a little chat about that, so that people can understand what that relates to. And before we do, this kind of shows you how these interviews are really working well, because Lee has put on here, these lives have certainly opened up and broadened my views and thoughts. And but that's also true of me, because every single interview I've done has taught me something. And in
you
fact,
learn, of
most
course.
times it's taught me a lot. It's
How
taught about,
beautiful that is.
yeah, and looking at life in perhaps a slightly different way. But yes, Bust Out 100. So a powerful photographic tribute to breast cancer awareness. So let's have a chat about that. Tell me some more.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, I was artist in residence in Bickerton Grace Gallery. The owner of the gallery, Marie Bickerton, and we became quite close. She's also a mommy like me. We were both single moms in the same school, and we became friends and kind of allies, working every day in the same environment, her gallery. And to move a very long story short, we decided to come up with this movement, which we call Bust Out. This was to raise awareness on breast cancer. Now, why? Neither of us have had breast cancer, but breast cancer is a terrible, terrible disease. 32 lives daily in the UK are taken due to breast cancer. One woman is diagnosed with breast cancer every 10 minutes. Gary, that statistics are, so one way or the other, we are going to be affected. I know friends that have died of breast cancer.
Yeah.
I have friends that have been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So why doing this movement? Because breast cancer, if caught in time, prevents deaths. And through lifestyle, it actually may prevent actually getting cancer, breast cancer.
Yeah.
So for us to spread the word, it was very, very important. Forward 2 years, nearly 3 actually, because that will start in 2022. We are having an exhibition in the Fire Pit Gallery in North Greenwich, where Marie Bickerton, she is the photographer. She took pictures of 100 chests, 99 women and 1 man, representing the 1% of men that can get.
Bust Out 100. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Now that exhibition, please, I will urge anyone to please come and have a look at this. It is, and I can say this on my social, it is breathtaking. The amount of times, and Maria and I was doing the photographs, we just look at each other after the interviews, because we interview people that we took pictures of, and they could cry. And, through Pink Ribbon Foundation, because we chose Pink Ribbon Foundation as our charity partner, we support Pink Ribbon Foundation in everything we do. We've been very, very actively involved in all her affairs. So this has become such a huge machine that we never knew it was going to happen. So this exhibition is going to be a really, really, really big event. And I will please anyone to keep an eye on it, and because it supports the cause and it supports Pink Ribbon Foundation and their amazing work.
Okay, well, I'll just put details up of when the exhibition is. What I will do is I will put all these links and stuff that's on this press release you've got. I'll put it underneath the blurb on this YouTube video as well, so that people can get in touch and also come along. Whereabouts is the Fire Pit Gallery?
The Fire Pit Gallery is in North Greenwich, just by the
North
O2.
Greenwich. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yes. I know. Of course I know. Yeah.
It's literally like 1 minute walk from the station.
Yes, I know.
Beautiful.
So we've had 3 fluxes actually at that point. You know where it goes around the corner. So yeah, people who follow Flux would know exactly where that is. That's brilliant. Okay, superb. So next thing then really is the clothing stuff. So your art on. So is this a new venture? Is this something you've been doing for a while? What's that?
Listen, when I was 13, I remember painting my jeans, and everyone told me,
yeah.
No, all my life people have told me I'm crazy. I have that label since I remember. So I'm crazy. Good. I never really took it bad. So I've always done clothing, but no in a scale, no in retail. I just done it for my friends. My friends used to sell it to friends. So I started taking it very seriously when I launched with my bust out partner, Anne-Marie Bickerton. We launched A Bad Penny, a clothing range, where we did some t-shirts and hoodies, but I did a lot of artist apparel, which basically I upcycle clothing. I give it a new lease of life by painting on it. It's all on my Instagram.
Okay.
And this is something I've always loved to do. I love fashion. When you dress, you feel in a way that, okay, how can I phrase this? You will feel how you dress. And you dress how you feel. So if you feel it really down and you want to cheap up a little bit, I would say dress X, Z, and Y. Don't dress in black. Do you understand? So with my clothing, not only I want to help the planet, because it's just crazy amounts of clothing. Listen, most of the clothes I have, I buy them in second-hand shops. Because we had enough of too much clothing, guys. It's not going to the planet. I'm going to be inspired. But my children and my great-grandchildren, when I have them, they will suffer the consequences of our wrongdoing. So, yeah, okay, you don't like this clothing anymore, give it to me. And then when I'm turning into something beautiful, a wearable piece of art. Perfecto. So on the 1st of May, I'm launching I Am Here to Play, which is my clothing line. If you see now, I'm putting teasers in every street I walk.
I've seen that.
Everywhere I'm putting I'm here to play, because I'm telling people.
That was here at the bottom of there. Yeah. I'm here to play, yeah.
That is my brand. So, I'm here to play. Let's play. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
So, this will be in Hypesus. Hypesus is a store that retails with very innovative designers, fashion designers, and they're launching at the end of this month Hypesus Lab, which is actually a platform that will try to give a shout out to all those new and upcoming fashion designers. So I will be one of them, and we are launching on the 1st of May. Hypesus, the sightings in Waterloo. Be there. I'll be square.
Nice. So now we just got a few
6 minutes, Gary.
A few minutes left. So let's talk about the next kind of bit really is, and I know, look, we've spoken about this, your website's not up to date as such. However, I'm still going to share it because so that people can actually know where to find you. They can see the kind of stuff you do, and your that journey collection we were talking about right at the start. I absolutely love some of this. I think it's the colours are fabulous, and it's interesting how you say that you just kind of you don't know what you're going to do when you start painting, and it comes out with this. But one question, if you can think back this far, and I know that because you've got so much going on, that this was a while ago, is how do you what determines your color palette for this kind of work? You know, what, all right, saying, I pick the brush up, don't know what I'm going to do, but there's a proper theme of color running through this. So why that color palette? Is that to do with how you're feeling at the time? Is that sort of an indication of that?
I think we need to start from the paradigm that I don't think what I do. So
Okay.
I guess
Okay.
just like Picasso had his blue, but this is not blue. Well, I don't know. Yeah, actually, it's kind of sad. That was a very sad. I did cry a lot. Like I don't know, my God, I was crying all the time through that because it was counseling. Yeah, no. Actually, you see, I never thought of it. I'm processing it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Gary. Like if you go before that, I used to use a lot of red. Listen, when I was in college and uni, my palette was red and oranges and yellows, and everything was way more sexually explicit and aggressive, and I think the passion is still there, but it was more not angry. I don't think. Well, perhaps I was a bit angry inside, but it was more aggressive. Then all of a sudden it turned blue, and although the blue is lingering a little bit, because if you look at the bull, the last one I did, there's still plenty of blue in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we need to. What was your friend's name? The artist, the psychologist. Maybe we need to ask her.
Yeah, Janet.
She can give me a free consultation.
But it's interesting. Yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because it sometimes when you do sort of look back on the work that you've done, you kind of because so much has happened since that you look back on it and think, yeah, you know what? Actually, I can see kind of what might have been going on there. And it's quite interesting.
See, with the journey, it was my friend that called me, Christina, and she says, Piluca, do you realize what you just done? I'm like, what did I do? I thought she was going to turn me off. Like, what did you do? He said, it does you with your kids, with Carlos and Malachi. I'm like, what? And when I looked, I remember that day because I literally broke down. I'm thinking, oh, I didn't realize, but it was like vessels in the sea. It's a storm and then the calm. And it's always like the vessels, me and my two kids. And the funny thing is that it's a point when, if I put it together with the moments of therapy, there is a point that I was feeling just by myself. And then you can tell because I'm just by myself in the painting. So like that, in there I'm by myself. So, and that's the storm and oh my God, that collection. You know what? So I know this is going to sound absolute nutters, but I look back, I'm thinking, wow, did I do that?
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah, honestly, it's like, do that. I don't even know how I did it.
I know the feeling, but often I ask this question as well. So you've got acrylic on board, you've got acrylic on canvas. What determines whether it's a canvas board or...
Again, is my nuttiness. Okay, so I work a lot with plasterboard. I love plasterboard so much. Which is absolutely bonkers crazy because it's the most ridiculous medium to do art with. Why? It's very fragile.
Yeah.
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you look here, I brought a lot of the What the Bleep collection here, and it's to frame it. The framer told me, I don't like you. Because we put it on tray frames, and he's like, I don't like you. I'm like, well, I love you. He says, this is so much hard work for me. I'm like, we love you. But Gary, the edges, you look at the edges and it's like life. I like erosion. I like the perfection in imperfection, I told you. So when I work in plasterboard, like sometimes it gets dented very easily. And I love that. The edges are kind of torn and used, but that's who we are as humans. We're layer after layer after layer after layer of imperfections. And who's perfect? No one. I'm full of imperfection. I try to be perfect every day. I tell my kids, do you want to do something? You want to make mommy proud? Be a better human every single day. The rest, you can flow as you want. And this, I really mean it. I don't care if they become whatever they want to become. For as long as they try hard to become a better human every single day. I think We should all do that. And the rest, let it flow. Be happy.
We should all do that. You're absolutely right, and it's interesting about plasterboard as well, because obviously, it's beautifully flat in most cases,
No,
anyway.
and the way they takes the paints, Gary, you need to
Yeah,
try.
yeah, yeah.
Listen,
Oh,
one
I know.
And the
I
thing,
know.
you know why I started painting on plasterboard? You know why? Because I'm an upcycler. So when I went to the studio, it was like a pop-up, and it was, I can't remember what building was, but it was plenty of plasterboard everywhere. So I thought, cheap option, good. And I
Yeah,
started painting in plasterboard. Damn, did I love it. The way it takes the painting, and the way I can do marks on it. So it kind of becomes a sculpture.
yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. Listen, I remember once I did. So when I finished the journey, this is absolutely nuts. When I finished the journey, I felt like, my God, I couldn't even breathe. And I went to look at a wall, and all of a sudden, I took a picture of myself sitting down like that, just holding a butterfly. Is there? And I painted on the wall of the studio. Yeah. Now, one day the studio was going to be repossessed. I didn't even know that. Okay. Listen, I was paying my rent. But all of a sudden, I have all these people saying, you need to get out. This building has been repossessed. I said, what do you mean repossessed? I'm an artist. I'm paying rent. Anyway, the guys were very, very scary to start with. Like blocks, honestly. I'm looking at them, I'm like, just say that. Oh, my artwork is there. So, and they say, okay, you need to vacate within. I said, how long do I have? Me thinking 2 days. 2 hours. So, packing. And then I'm looking at this portrait, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to leave you behind, baby. Guess what I did? Get a saw with Tom. My friend Tom came with a saw. I have a video. We cut the wall, and we brought it home. It's there in my house. How cool is that?
Fair play. Well, you know what? I think that's a perfect point to finish on. We've gone over the hour, and I've really enjoyed it. I've got to say I'm worn out.
There you are. Imagine being me. Let's go for a sleeping. You know
I
what?
don't know. I'll tell you
I sleep
what.
12 hours in a row. Can you imagine why? Because I have to put up with myself every day. Imagine.
It'll be great to meet you at Flux in July for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And,
I can't wait. And thank you so much to Lee and Paolo for their inputs. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, they're a very good pair of them. It'll be interesting because private view is always really busy and pretty crazy, always crazy. I think anything up to 1,000 people can turn up. So it's a great private view. It's a great event. Normally have someone a DJ playing as well, and everybody just enjoying the art. But of course, it is for a week. So sorry, a weekend. It's not just a private view. And there are going to be quite a lot of stuff, quite a lot of things going on. What I would say, which is what I say to every artist, is try and come every day, because no one sells your art better than you.
Absolutely.
And if you're
And it's
there,
interesting to be there and meeting other
well,
artists.
and not just that. It's interesting meeting the people that come to the exhibition. That's what I like about it. I really enjoy talking to people that come along, and it's a cracking exhibition to do. You'll really enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing you there. And don't run away. We'll have a chat afterwards. But for now, thank you very much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it, because I certainly have. And
I
I
loved
will
it.
catch you in a bit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gary. Absolutely, thoroughly loved it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. Well, that's really been quite interesting for me. As I said just now, I'm totally worn out because wow, uh, um, the passion absolutely came through. Passion came through a long way, and thanks, Lee. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you did, yeah, and Lisa, looking forward to meeting you. Yeah, it's going to be good, Lisa. I'm pretty sure of that. It's really interesting, I think, these interviews, how much I learn, how much I get from them, and I hope you do too, because every artist I've had on has been completely different. I've not had anybody that's doing the same thing, not had anybody that's got the same outlook on life. and I absolutely love doing this. Yes, it's a lot of work for me, but personally, it's worth every second of that. So just leaves me really just to remind you a bit. As I said earlier, I've got this guy, Mark Springer, on next week, who's done this album with Neil Tennant. And it's all about the works of Francisco Goya. And Neil Tennant has written the words and does a bit of singing with the Saccone String Quartet on this album. But I want to get into talking to Mark about the fact that why did he come up with the idea? What is it about Goya's work that inspires him? But also, he is an artist. So we're going to be getting into talking about the links that link art and music, because I've had so many people actually come on here who are musicians. You might remember Diana Lowry a short while ago in a big band in Australia before she came here. Music, art. Rennie Pilgrim on, who's a breakbeat artist and DJ. There's been lots of people that have been on that have linked it together. So all that's left for me now really is to say I will see you next week for the Mark Springer interview, and thanks very much for watching as always.